The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. The Week 15 DraftKings Picks. Tambo is in Nashville for the Fantasy Football World Championships, although I think he's there as a friend, not a competitor this year. But, you know, when you have friends who are so good that they make it to the Fantasy Football World Championships, then you get to go along as a friend of theirs on a free trip. But a friend of mine who has traveled to Antarctica, apparently, broadcasting from outside in his giant winter jacket, it's Davis Mattek, who is not in Nashville for the Fantasy Football World Championships.
I'm not. Yeah, I was just outside with my dogs. It's 15 degrees. As you guys can hear, I'm a little sick. I'm fighting through it. I would never abandon my good friend Pat when he needed me. And I'm gonna wear my puffer because it's comfortable. My office is in the basement, so it's a little colder down here. And if I get hot, I'll take it off. But I mean, come on, a puffer. I guess in Canada, it's probably considered very bad form to wear your winter jacket inside.
I can't recall anyone ever having worn their winter jacket inside, ever.
Oh, what can you do? I'm also lazy. I'm also You want me to go? I can go change. I can go put a hoodie on.
You don't need to put a hoodie on it. I think it's hilarious.
It's every time I do wear this coat on a show without fail, all the YouTube comments will be like, "Would the heat get shut off at your house because you're having such a bad year in
The answer
basketball?"
is yes.
Yes. The answer is yes. Yeah. No, we can't afford it. We're burning whale blubber for warmth in my house right now.
All right. Well, you might get some of the activists after you after that. And those are your people, Davis.
Well, I don't know if those are my people as much. I think there's been a real split.
Let's talk about the optimal of what Run the Sims is telling us for Week 15. Here's what I got as the optimal. It's Kyler Murray at quarterback with Chuba Hubbard, Joe Mixon, and Rico Dowdle. Those are your flex and 2 running back spots. Here's a fun one. Quentin Johnston at receiver. Nico Collins, the soul sucker of money himself, Kayshon Boutte at wide receiver. Yep. Zach Ertz at tight end, and the Chargers defense is what they are telling me is the optimal lineup. I know that's not true because it has Boutte in it. I would rather play an empty spot at receiver than play him.
That's fair. Does Run the Sims have Bucky Irving projected in or out? I'm assuming they have him projected in right now.
I'm going to effort that for the moment. Let's see. Old Bucky. Yeah, Bucky Irving is projected as in right now.
So I think he's probably not going to play. The Wednesday limited practice to Thursday DNP always is a little spooky for me. So my optimal that I have pulled up with him out is Kyler, Hubbard, Rashad White, T. Higgins, Adam Thielen, Ladd McConkey, Dalton Schultz, Trey McBride, weirdly, in flex, and then an expensive defense. So that's terrible. I definitely would not play that. But I do like those receivers better than having to play Kayshon Boutte.
So let's just swap 1-for-1 Mixon with White in this lineup, assuming that Bucky Irving doesn't play. That opens up receiver for us all the way up to Jameson Williams. I mean, we can get Marvin Harrison in there since we have Kyler Murray anyway.
Yeah. I think I like that. I want to get Zach Ertz is a good tight end play. I really like Thielen at wide receiver though. I'd like to get him instead of Boutte.
I mean, we could just change Marvin Harrison to Thielen. We have money for that.
Yeah, let's do that. Not a sentence I ever thought I'd be saying in 2024, but it's crazy times out here, crazy season.
That gets us $200 elsewhere. That if we want to play with it, we could. Let's see, Chargers D is 29. We could get up to Eagles D against Russ, or Jets D against Jacksonville, who had 0 quarterback pressures last week.
0 quarterback pressures. Can it get us? Who's slightly more expensive than Ertz? Is there anyone? Not really.
He is 4,000. You could get up to Mark Andrews if you wanted to. I'd rather play Ertz.
Can we? Why not? Stone Smart, romancing the stone. Why don't we? I feel like that's a classic Pat Mayo play. The dead bid tight end.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, when I desperately need 2.3 points, Stone Smart's going to be the guy for me. All right, if we do that, that probably means we can take Quentin Johnston out and get up to 6,600 at receiver. We could get Cortland Sutton against Indy, which is actually really nice, or Garrett Wilson.
There we go.
Or we get Garrett.
Yes,
Garrett Wilson, $6,500.
Up to you. Up to you. You're the boss.
I'll go
I'm
with
just a
Garrett
guest.
Wilson.
I'm just a guest wearing his coat inside of your house.
Cust has told me that the Jets still have the best player at every position. Although he did inform me that if they had Jameis, they would be 10-3 instead of 3-10. So that's interesting.
So he thinks Brees Hall is the best running back, Garrett Wilson's the best receiver,
And Adams. And he had Mike Williams.
And Adams.
Yeah, he had Mike Williams ranked inside the top 10 before the season, but he no longer thinks that.
Who's their left tackle? Do they have a good left tackle?
You know what? I don't know. Was it that guy they drafted this year, or was that guy a guard? Don't they have that? Don't they have that old dude at left tackle?
I can find this out very quickly. Their left tackle is Olu Fashanu. Yes, so they drafted him this year. Maybe he's good. I don't know. Probably not.
Because he plays for the Jets?
Well, probably not, because if they had a good left tackle, they'd be better on offense.
I mean, maybe Aaron Rodgers is the source of a lot of their problems because he just constantly throws people out of bounds for no reason.
Well, come on. Nothing's ever been Aaron Rodgers' fault in his natural-born life.
He did say in a press conference yesterday that he does believe that there's, quote, a curse on the Jets. He finally, maybe he really did have a visualization in that ayahuasca tent, and he saw it. He just couldn't see exactly what it was, but there is a curse on the Jets. This we all know.
You know, the whole Rodgers thing is so funny because I used to love him. Back in like kind of the early days of Twitter, like 2013 to like 2016, I was a big Rodgers guy. People didn't understand how good he was, and then he got my friend cut. He got Jeff Janis cut from the Packers, and I was like, "You're a dick."
And it turned out he was a dick.
And then learned that he was a dick. Now everyone thinks he's a dick.
All right. We're a dick for not talking about this game so far. Well, two of
Yes.
us are both dicks for not talking about Bills and Lions. How do we make this game work? Because this is the game we all want to make work, isn't it?
Yes, I mean everyone who watched Josh Allen score 53 fantasy points last week, they are like, well, that's going to happen again because I just saw it happen.
I would agree. I mean, as someone who went out of their way to jam in Josh Allen to their highest money lineup, I would say it worked for me. I have money to spend on DraftKings now.
Wow, look at you, man. Look at you.
Yeah,
classic.
Dawson Knox being jammed with him did not get me to the very top of the contest, unfortunately.
No, I mean the optimal lineup last week would have been none of his teammates with him, right?
Yeah, but if I had just played Shakir instead of MVS and punted a different spot and used Juwan Johnson instead, it would have worked out. But,
yeah,
there's a lot of times where I could go back and look at a lineup, make 3 changes, and be like, oh, yeah, that would have worked.
Yeah, just 3v3 versus the Duds.
Yeah, just take out all the guys with the snowflake, or the guys just doing a bunch of cocaine on the sidelines. I'm not sure what that snowflake means exactly, or they're just too fragile to score fantasy points. But a lot of fire and a lot. Don't you hate those lineups? You're like, oh, I have 5 of the 6 highest scoring guys of the week, and these guys who scored nothing.
That's I mean that's kind of how you build. You love these puns. I mean, I guess I do too. That was not a fair aspersion for me to cast.
You're projecting everything you do onto me, which I do, but you do it too.
Yeah. We're very our minds create associations in very obvious ways here on the PME.
So how do we do this? Allen by himself again? Because Kincaid's going to be back, Coleman's going to be back. It just seems you almost need to luck into the same situation as last week where they get stopped at the 1 3 times and he sneaks it in.
No, I think if you are stacking him with anyone, it is Amari Cooper. He would be the one.
The problem, I guess Cooper's only $5,300, so you can make that work. How do you make it work on the other side with the Lions? Like, do you go Gibbs or Montgomery? Or both?
I think you want for this game, I think you want Gibbs because Gibbs gets there via efficiency, and any of his, he scores a 60-yard touchdown, he speeds the game up, he creates the need for more possessions. Because the thing about the Bills is they're actually a very conservative offense. They really run. They keep the ball close. They don't take deep shots unless they have to. Um, so I mean, until last week, Josh Allen had I believe he wasn't even a top 4 fantasy quarterback until last week.
He is now because you can always get those games from him.
He sure is now. Yeah.
Is there, like, do you throw Amon-Ra into this? Do you throw Jameson Williams into this? Because, if you're going to expect a lot of points, the more guys, the merrier from this game.
I think you do Laporta. I think you just say he's not going to be owned. He's going to be like, well, he'll definitely be. What I'll say is this: he's definitely going to be way more owned than a $4,400 tight end who projects for like 10 points should be. But if it's like him scoring multiple touchdowns, definitely relates to a game where Josh Allen smashes and where Amari Cooper smashes.
Well, I think that's the story we need to tell ourselves here, where we say not necessarily Laporta, but if Jameson Williams smashes along with him, I think it goes to the same thing you said about Gibbs, where they're going to be high efficiency, longer-ish plays, in theory, speed the game up, get the ball back in Josh Allen's hands, and then just more pass attempts.
Yes. So the tricky thing about that is that $5,000 to $6,000 wide receiver range is like littered with good wide receiver plays. And Jameson Williams is like the worst by a lot, and he's going to be the most owned by a lot because of this game. Not by a lot, but he'll probably be the most owned because of this game. Everyone wants to play this game.
You don't think that everyone wants to play this game, but this game's hard to play is the problem.
That's what leads. Honestly, those are the type of things that leads to your opponents playing bad lineups. Is they do these game stacks poorly. Like I right now I'm looking at Jameson Williams as a 7% projected ownership. I'd bet the over on 10%. I think for Jameson Williams ownership.
We have him at 8% at Run the Sims now.
That's low.
Okay, let's throw him out. Let's put Amon-Ra in to see if we can make this work. Allen, Gibbs, Cooper, Amon-Ra. What's Kincaid? Kincaid is 4,900.
He's so expensive.
He is. You're not getting. If he was like 3,400, then yeah, I could throw him in instead of Cooper. But all right, let's go with this: Allen, Gibbs, Cooper, and Amon-Ra. That gives us 4,100 to play with per position. Who's the punt defense this week we can go to?
The punt defense this week is the Browns. The Browns against Mahomes in the rain.
They were a part of the fun lineup that had the snowflakes next to their name last week.
Did they get a snowflake on defense last week? I don't even remember.
I believe they scored 2 points. Let's see here. What's their game log? They scored 3 points. 3 points, 3 points, 7 points, 1 point. Like, they generate a ton of pressure, but they don't ever get anything back.
Well, they're going to next week because the Chiefs play without a left tackle.
Maybe. So. You go to the Bucks at 26.
That's fine. I mean, I don't have strong opinions on these defenses. We can do the Bucks.
All right, let's throw in the Bucks. And you don't want to throw in the Bills as a part of the bigger stack?
It would make it sim well. That would be we could run that in the Sims and they would like it, but no, I don't think so.
I don't like the Bucks either, simply because Herbert doesn't really throw any turnovers. That you'd be hoping that it's a banged up Herbert, and then maybe Heineke comes into the game. Yeah, the punt defense, there was a lot of punt defenses you could have went to last week, and there's none this time around. Like, the Giants was pretty obvious last week is like the pay down D. It's like, all right, let's just use them against the Saints, and this will work out well.
Against the Saints.
And it did. So, man, I don't know. Yeah, let's go with the Browns. We'll throw the Browns in against Kansas City at 22. We're back up to 46. So it seems like those running backs that you talked about a little bit earlier is what?
Rashad, Rico Dowdle, James Conner, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson, Ramondre.
Right, I'm not playing Ramondre. That seems.
I'm not either.
What's Chuba? Chuba is 65.
Chuba is 65.
Yeah, I don't know if we can make. We need Stone Smart for sure in this lineup.
Yeah, we need Stone Smart. We could probably do Jalen McMillan or Sterling Shepard.
It lands us on Keyshawn Butte is where it lands us. Bourne, Samuel, Turpin, Calvin Austin. I mean, Pickens isn't going to play, is he?
Calvin Austin got 1 target last week and didn't. I mean, it's probably fine because he was way over-owned last week and he'll be less owned now. But if we do Sterling Shepard, who had 8 targets last week,
Is he
we
playing,
can
though?
play. Yeah, why wouldn't he?
He has the foot injury or the hip injury, whatever it is.
Dude,
Foot.
he's a million years old. He's always injured.
He has not participated in practice yet this week. Let's just go with McMillan to be safe.
Yeah, let's do McMillan, and then we can still play a running back we like at flex.
All right, so we'll take Hubbard down to $6,400. That gives us, I guess Brees Hall's not playing. What about like Isaiah Davis? He's 5,000.
I would probably do Braylon.
Just to say it swings back the other way.
Well, no, they both played 50% of the snaps, 22 routes for Braylon, 20 routes for Davis, but Braylon got all the carries with less than 3 yards to go. So I think he would get any rushing touchdown. No, Davis will get any receiving touchdown, but
Okay, well that means we can bring up Jalen McMillan if we want to, because we have $1,000 left over now. Is there anyone else in that running back like flex tier of 64 down that you do like? Let's see.
yeah, Rico.
Oh yeah, we'll play Rico. Is Rico gonna get the rug pulled from us this week?
I don't think so. I think he's probably one of my. If people are afraid of playing him, he'll probably be the guy I play the most.
We can take the Browns up to the Dolphins now too. I actually like the Dolphins against the Texans.
I was gonna say I actually like that a good bit.
All right, so if we put in Allen with Gibbs and Amon-Ra and Cooper as the game stack from Buffalo and Detroit, you get Rashad White with Dowdle. Although it's no, like, what happens if Rashad White doesn't play? Where do we go here? Or if Bucky Irving does play, we just go down to, I guess we can play Tyrone Tracy in the ultimate leverage play.
No, you just do Rico Chuba, and you go back down to defense.
Rico, Chuba, go back down. I don't think we have enough money for that.
Yeah, you do Josh Allen, Gibbs, Dowdle, Cooper, St. Brown, McMillan, Stone Smart, Chuba, Browns D.
No, because if you take White to Chuba's $6,500. You don't have enough money.
I'm looking at it. I've got it submitted right now.
I mean, I have $1,800 left to play with.
What do I have different than you?
Allen, Gibbs, Hubbard, Cooper, Brown, McMillan, Smart, Dowdle, $1,800 left.
I'm literally trying to figure this out. What do I have different than you?
I mean,
you have AJ Brown in.
Oh, I have
not Amon-Ra.
Ah, that would be why. There you go. Then yeah, you could do that. That would work.
That was driving me crazy. I was about to be like, is my program messed up? I was about to be like, dude, everything I know is a lie.
Oh, yeah, I actually like that better as well. We can just not put in White. We'll just put in Hubbard instead of White and use Brown's D.
Yeah, we're going to fade the guy who's the most chalk anyway, which will be Rashad.
All right, so there's the Bills and Lions game. Do you think that ownership gets depressed on that game simply because it's so hard to fill out?
No, because we've got Stone Smart. Actually, it'll come up higher if Sterling Shepard gets ruled out. I actually didn't realize that he was questionable. So Sterling Shepard gets ruled out. Jalen McMillan will project a little bit better. We got the value running backs. You know, we got Rico. We got maybe Rashad White. We got Hubbard. I think people can get there.
What game do you want to go to next? Because I was eyeing Washington and New Orleans, because I think that Washington, out of the 43.5 total, I think they might score 40 of those points.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
So, in my mind, there's no Noah Brown for the season now. Do you go to one of the cheap options at receiver from them, or you just say, just screw it, let's play Brian Robinson?
No, it's definitely Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson is, he to me looks like kind of the most under-owned play this week, because I think this might be his season high in rushes in this spot. Now, I mean, when they get up, they will turn it over to Chris Rodriguez, so maybe I'll be wrong about that. But against Arizona, he got 21 rushes. I think he can get close to that here.
Yeah, and it's not like Eckler's going to come in and spell him in the receiving game, and they feel like they have to use him. Maybe they do use McNichols at a point, but that's usually when they're up by so much it doesn't matter, and hopefully Brian Robinson got you along the way. Ertz is the one that everyone seems to be going to here. Is there anyone from the other side of the ball you'd want to use? Because I really don't.
No. If there was anyone, it would be Juwan Johnson, and even that would really be stretching it.
I mean, I have enjoyed myself from some MVS, but I just can't, in good conscience, play any of these receivers right now.
Correct. Yeah, Jake Hayner, you're not a big Jake Hayner guy. What's the point?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So with Brian Rice, so let's take a look at these value running backs because if we put Gibbs into the last one, Pollard might not play against Cincinnati, which means a ton of Tajay Spears, which opens us up even more. But between Connor, Hubbard, Dowdle, Brian Robinson, and then, like you said, Rashad White might end up getting there as well if Bucky Irving sits, depending on how you feel about like Najee and Pacheco. Right, they're fine, I suppose. But all those guys fall in that like 58 to 65 type range. Are the high-end running backs are the ones who just no one's going to use?
Exactly. That's exactly what's. I mean, I think Henry will be the most owned of these, but Barkley, A-Chain, Mixon, Kamara, even Gibbs. Honestly, I think the highest running back that'll generate ownership is going to be Chase Brown at 7,200.
And that's probably a great look, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Chase Brown, but pretty much best play of the slate. I think.
All right, so let's do the best play of the slate here to pair with Brian Robinson. So we'll go Brian Robinson, Chase Brown, and we'll leave this one for a little bit later because I really. What about Washington defense? If you can get there, do you like that, or is it just like a eh?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not like rushing to get it in or rushing to fade it either way, I think.
Cincinnati and Tennessee? I mean, Cincinnati leads to a lot of high scoring games. How often do you think they're involved in one of the 3 highest scoring games of the week this season?
I assume at an incredibly high rate because I know that they have the greatest amount of total points scored in their games, like points they've scored, points they've allowed their opponents to score. I mean, like even I think Russ had 31 points against them. Like, crazy.
Burrow, T. Higgins?
I think T. Higgins is the mid IQ man. I think you just do Chase, right?
Just jam Chase? Can you jam Chase and then jam Brown with him, or just Burrow and Chase?
I think you can do Brown. I think you do Burrow, Chase, Ridley, right? If you wanted this game to go off.
I pegged you for a Nick Westbrook Ikena guy.
No. Guy has like 39 targets on the year.
Yeah, but they're all for touchdowns.
They are. I'm not a Nick Westbrook. In fact, my biggest bet last week was Nick Westbrook Akine not to score a touchdown.
What was that, minus 3,000?
No, that's the thing. It moved. It was like minus 220.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, yeah, so Burrow, Chase, Ridley. Would you play Spears if Pollard doesn't go?
Sure. Yeah, well, I think he's 4,300. I remember looking. Yeah, he would be one of the best. I mean, he wouldn't obviously be as good as some of the value running backs we got last week. Like he's not Isaac Urendo or Zach Charbonnet, but he certainly would be a play if Pollard doesn't go.
I'm just taking a look at the running back ownership right now. Obviously, it's Friday. This will get changed because it's showing me with 10% Barkley projection. I just don't see how people get to Barkley.
No. Anyone who plays expensive guys is going to be playing Henry. Henry is going to be the narrative play this week, the way that Barkley was the narrative play last week.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, I'm never really that afraid of fading Barkley on DraftKings scoring because he's got to score twice to kill you. Which, like, I mean, I don't know. He probably will. Henry's probably a great play, but this is gonna be like the most owned he's been in a regular slate this week, I feel.
Well, the ones that I was looking at, and I found this to be very interesting, and this is where I've been having most of my success this year. Now, we use Gibbs. He's projected at 6% right now, mainly because Chase Brown is projected to be 24%, Hubbard 30%. Like, those are the guys everyone's going to. But right below Chase Brown, you have David Montgomery, 6%, Jonathan Taylor, 5%, and James Cook, 1%. And like you said, we all just watched the Bills score all these points, and James Cook got none of them. What if this is just the James Cook 3 touchdown week? It happens it already happened this year.
It did already happen this year. I mean, he's like really not playing. Like he played less than half the snaps in that game against the Rams. Ty Johnson and Ray Davis are both getting in there. I mean, it's like, of course it's fine leverage, but I'd probably just play Chase Brown. I'm probably just playing Chase Brown and all this stuff. I mean, he's such a good play.
He is, but like how much better of a play is he than Jonathan Taylor, who's going to play 99% of the snaps?
Against Denver, probably like way better.
Yeah,
Probably
but
like
is he 5 times better to play?
yeah, probably.
Really?
I think that's probably right about how. Yeah, I'd probably say. I mean, for the same amount of money, he is projected in my stuff 5 points better.
He's
So
projected. He's projected on Run the Sims as 2.5 points better. Brown over
that's
Taylor.
probably close. That's probably closer to reality. 2.5 points better.
Is there any player harder to project than David Montgomery though? Because David Montgomery might score 35 points.
Hey, you just say how many touchdowns? How many touchdowns is David Montgomery gonna get? Montgomery in this game. He's a great way to you play Montgomery in a game where you don't have any Bill or any other Lion, and it's a Montgomery game. He takes the air out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, he would be. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a good point to come back to later on. That if we need to throw it in, we can't make it work in some of these lineups with Bills and Lions, even as a mini stack to throw them in, just to use David Montgomery in that spot instead.
I like that. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, he's a good way to get a chunk of that total.
So Burrow, Chase, and Ridley will throw in, and the other shell we had was Brian Robinson and Chase Brown. What game do you want to go to?
Let's go to. Do you think New England can push Arizona at all?
Do you have faith that Arizona is going to get there to begin with?
That's the thing is like which Kyler do you get? You get good Kyler, it's gonna be fun. You get bad Kyler, it's gonna be terrible.
Like I would be fine going with the May side of this, going like May and Demario Douglas, who Douglas is always the one. And even, I mean, I'll take a look at how much is Hunter Henry.
He's like a little bit more expensive this week, I think.
Henry's 43. Like that's not the end of the world, I suppose, but you can just play McBride in that spot coming back.
Yeah, let's do that.
Go McBride and Connor.
McBride and Connor. Yeah. The interesting thing this week is Christian Gonzalez. Like I don't even ever know defensive players, but everyone says he's like the best cornerback in the NFL and that he's going to shadow Marvin Harrison Jr. this week.
Do you even need
Marvin Harrison Jr. is
he can shadow himself.
5,500.
He can shadow himself.
Yeah. He can shadow himself. That's true.
Like if you go look at his game logs, I was reading it earlier. I don't know if it's true or not. Let's see here. Yeah, he basically doesn't score anywhere between 9 and 15 points. 8.9, 17, 7, 16, 4, 26, 5, 0, 5, 15, 17, 32, 1. Like there's no mid game for him. It's either really good or really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I keep chasing the 35 pointer. You know,
that was week 2 when everyone said he was the worst player in the league. Just play Marvin Harrison this week and it'll be fine. And that was
Did I come on the show? Did I come on the show that week?
I don't think so. Tambo and I vividly recall Tambo and I having that conversation.
Okay, yeah, because I did play him a bunch that week. That ended up being one of the only weeks I had a sweat in the whole season.
This one's pretty interesting. Yeah, May with Douglas. I mean, Douglas never scores, but he just piles up those points along the way, especially if they get down in this game. You hope May either runs it in or does a bunch of running himself, and then Arizona scores on the ground, and McBride. Arizona just scores through Connor, and McBride does the rest, because obviously he's not scoring a touchdown.
No, Trey McBride will never score a touchdown. Obviously, there's a force field that keeps him away from the end zone. I think we all know that.
Like, would you want to throw in another Patriot onto this, or is like one with May enough?
I think one with May is enough because with May, you're hoping he runs. You're hoping he runs one in, maybe two. He has more rushing yards than Jalen Hurts since shit, I forget the end point. It was a good tweet that I saw, but he's got more rushing yards than Jalen Hurts.
Well, I was very excited on Underdog to play the higher on Drew Lock rushing attempts and rushing overs this week, but he's not playing anymore. DeVito is playing. It's the best feeling when clothes fit good and look good, and you can comfortably wear them all day long. And that's exactly how I feel about my clothing from Doers. These are the most comfortable pants I've ever owned, but I wear my Doers as often as possible. I got 4 pairs right now. My wife, let me tell you, it's working. It's working for me with Doer, and they have styles that can be worn all year round. Their stretch performance denim and lifestyle apparel is built for doing. You know I love my Doers, and now's the time to get your own because they've got up to 50% off these incredibly comfortable pants, and this is the best time to upgrade your wardrobe before the new year and find some amazing holiday gifts. Don't wait. These items will sell out fast, so go to shopdoer.com/PME to get these great deals before they're gone. That's shopdoer, DUER.com/PME. Shopdoer.com/PME. Introducing the TGL presented by SoFi, golf's newest league live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's sharp and it's electric. How is it sharp? How is it electric? Picture this. 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime-forcing, playoff on-the-line golf with 24 of the best players from the PGA Tour, like Tiger and Rory and more, split into 6 teams. Atlanta, Boston, Jupiter, LA, New York, the Bay. This isn't your average Sunday pickup game. To learn more, visit tglgolf.com and tune in to the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up. It's golf. Baltimore? How do we, if let's say we don't do Henry, is there just a chance like, hey, we can get Lamar
Andrews.
We can get Lamar back into
Andrews.
the MVP race here by him throwing 8 touchdowns?
Yeah, it's Andrews. Andrews, because Andrews can get there on limited volume because he's cheap. Flowers needs the volume to get there. He can score 2 touchdowns in the first half.
So Flowers, Andrews, Jackson?
I would not. Well, I mean, whatever. Let's do it. What can go wrong?
I mean, lots can go wrong. I could lose my money, Davis.
You could lose your money. Yeah, I'm more of an Andrews guy this week than a Flowers guy, but I like that angle. I like that angle that you brought up, the idea of like, you know what? Josh just put up 1 billion points, but it was in a loss. Let's get Lamar his 3rd consecutive MVP. Let's let him score 50 points. Why not?
And it's not that debilitating. Yeah, you got to pay 83 for Lamar. It kind of takes you out of the running for the high-end running backs, but as we've already pointed out, with the flex still open and 2 running backs, you're probably still good. Is there any giant you would play?
Neighbors would be the one. You just hope he like literally gets like 17 receptions, but no, I won't. With my own dollars, my Trump freedom bucks, no. Maybe with your Canadian Trudeau maple syrup dollars, you can play League Neighbors.
Those aren't worth so much these days. Well, it's not that they're not worth so much, is that they're not, because I was looking at this the other day because I get paid in American money. So I'm like, hey, this is great. Like my salary just basically doubled overnight. This is fantastic news. But it's not that the Canadian dollar sucks. It just sucks versus the US dollar. It's actually gained against like the euro, the Aussie dollar, and those ones are just doing markedly worse against the US dollar now.
Very bad. Yeah.
So
Trump freedom bucks, man. Up only.
Bitcoin and US bucks. It turns out you could have them both and you were fine.
Well, I still wouldn't keep too much of your money in US dollars, but maybe better than maple syrup bucks.
Hey.
Or I don't know. I can't think of a derogatory name for a euro right now. I don't know. I got to think on that.
Yeah, you workshop that one, but think about it this way. You think about the guy who has all of his money in Bitcoin who says don't own money, can't afford heat in his house. I'm throwing that out there.
That is food for thought. That is food for thought. You guys think about that. You guys think about who you want to be like. Do you want to be like the guy who's wearing his winter puffer coat inside? You probably don't.
But you got to have all that theoretical money. Listen, at least if you had cash, you could burn it to keep warm.
Exactly. Well, how you gonna burn a Bitcoin, Pat? How you gonna burn a Bitcoin?
I did hear they take up a lot of energy though, so maybe you can get some heat residually off that.
This is actually no cap, no joking. They do this in Scandinavian countries. A couple Bitcoin mining companies heat their facilities with their Bitcoin miners. It really happens.
There you go. So that's what you need to do. You need to start mining your own Bitcoin. Then you would need to pay for heat, and you'd be rich.
There you go. I gotta get this huge rig and heat my basement up. It'll sound like an aircraft hangar while I'm doing these podcasts.
Okay, let me throw this one back at you. Lamar with Andrews and Henry, and the Ravens score 50 points.
Yeah, I think that's more likely to win than Lamar, Flowers, Andrews. I really do.
All right, then that's the shell we'll throw in, and we'll come back and try to build these ones out. You think with this many games, there'd be more fun games to try to target? There's just
there really aren't.
Not like. Well, let's rapid fire through some of these. Kansas City and Cleveland. Who do you want to play in those games?
Mahomes, Judy, Kelsey is the way to do that one.
I mean, that is the way to do that. I mean, I actually just play Jameis. Jameis is a great fantasy quarterback, if nothing else. He's going to score you. He's going to score you 5 points or 40 points. So I would actually play Jameis with Judy. Do we know if Tillman's playing? Because it doesn't seem like Njoku is.
It sounds like Tillman is gonna play. Sounds like he is able to get past whatever stage of the concussion protocol he was in, and he and Moore. Now, if he doesn't go, Judy and Moore are like even better plays. They're like great plays.
I can just see this game being 17-14 is the problem.
Well, and it's the weather's supposed to be bad too.
Are there any other weather concern games? Because that was a big part of my strategy of using Josh Allen last week. I was like, hey, it's indoors. Perfect.
To be honest with you, I do not know. Let me I'll pull up the old weather report.
All right, we talked about Jets and Jacksonville briefly about Braylon Allen. He'd be your preferred choice. I don't mind Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams. Like, would you run a Rodgers triple out?
I do a Rodgers, Braylon, Wilson, or Adams. I don't think I'd do the triple. Depends on what contest are we entering these in? What size field?
I'm throwing these in the $10, which has 10 max, $10, 4,700 people.
4,700. Yeah, you could do the triple in that size field.
Yeah, I mean, I can do a triple in any size. Do a triple in a cash game, pal. I'm just looking for guys who score points. That's the whole way you win these things.
So I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that, brother. That's not really my game.
So, like, when we're going over these games, like, I want to build out so many shells for these 10 lineups. Obviously, I've put in 2 already with Allen and the Optimal, those ones that we built. We have shells for the other ones. Like, would you actually consider using this game, I guess is my question. Like, would this if you had 10 lineups to allocate, would a Jets triple stack be one of them?
Gotta be honest with you, no. I think if I was doing 10 lineups, I would do a Baker double, a May double.
We just tried the May double. You didn't want to do the double.
I didn't say that. You did.
I said, should we do it? You're like, nah, it's probably good with just Douglas.
Well, I also don't double stack all the time.
Okay, so you like we'll get to Baker in a second. So from this game, like I mean, I've been trying to go out of my way to play Brian Thomas, and I just think that even if he has 0 receptions and 0 targets at the half, he's still going to get there. And he's not that expensive. Like you can play Brian Thomas with Garrett Wilson. That's 65 and 58. But you're still just hitting the mid-range of wide receiver, and you're not using those guys everyone else is using.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you here. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is one of the better plays of the slate because it's actually one of those things. Like a lot of the times when people make these plays, they don't project well. It's very rare that people don't like to play players that project well. And Brian Thomas Jr. is a young, exciting rookie who projects well, but people will not want to click him.
See, you say that. I am looking at the ownership right now. Garrett Wilson, the second highest owned receiver at 18%. Brian Thomas, third at 17%. I don't think that holds, though.
I don't think that holds either. That is early algorithm based ownership stuff before stuff starts to change on Sunday.
Okay, so we'll throw those 2 in as potentially a mini stack and come back to it from that game. And I guess you do like Braylon Allen. It seemed like Isaiah Davis was the one they wanted to use in the red zone. Like if they were going to actually score a touchdown, it was with him.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna say I liked Isaiah Davis quite a bit as a prospect too. Like I think they're both good, but I just am under the assumption that Braylon Allen will be like 1.7% owned, and Isaiah Davis will be like 8% owned this week.
I don't think it'll be 8% owned with all the value running backs.
8% is probably rich. 8% is probably rich.
How about 3%? 3%? 5?
Yeah.
Run the Sim says 5% right now.
Well, shit, I don't know, man. I'm not a scientist.
All right, so Brian Thomas and Garrett Wilson from that game. Let's keep running down here. How about Dallas, Carolina? Like, that's the ultimate spot for Dowdle and Hubbard. Like, would you go to Bryce Young? Would you go to Cooper Rush? Because it's my take this week that Dallas is going to win because Cooper Rush and Bryce Young are basically the same guy.
No, I would.
You like Thielen?
I would. Yeah, Thielen, I love. I would actually play Bo Nix or Anthony Richardson as like the rushing guy if I wanted to stack that game and just hope that one of them runs for two rushing touchdowns.
They don't even play in this game. Neither one of those. Your mind is going on you with this sickness. Dallas and Carolina.
No, you don't do that though. Like, here's something I like to do. I like to do a game stack with two statue quarterbacks and then sub the statue quarterback out for a running quarterback in another game.
I don't. To expand on this, please.
So, okay, like classic example would be a Matthew Stafford game, where Matthew Stafford can like Puka can. I mean, how many points did he get in that game against the Bills? Like, I don't know, probably 21 or something. But if you would have subbed in an Anthony Richardson type, a Trey Lance type, like whatever, like basically you do the game. You know what I'm saying. You sub out the statue quarterback whose upside is like 26 points with a running quarterback from another game. So you get the upside of the rushing quarterback and you take out the flatter range of outcomes and you get in way weirder parts of the combos. You do, like, your opponents will not be doing that.
Okay. So you'd rather use, like, do you like Richardson or Nix, or is this a spot to like jam Jaden Daniels? Because
no, I really like Nix. I think Nix is strong this week.
All right, so we can go just to adding to this like mini stack lineup we were doing, like Dowdle with Thielen, Thomas with Wilson. Now we have Bo Nix into that lineup to keep going. But those would be the three guys. Like, do you have like CeeDee Lamb interest?
I'm like a little bit Ferguson, probably more than Lamb, right? 3,800 for Ferguson.
I guess if you needed the tight end, but I wouldn't be going out of my way to be like, man, I need to play Jake Ferguson this week.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm kind of into it.
I'm shocked you're not like, we need to play. I mean, I'm gonna play Smart in every lineup probably.
Are you? I mean, I might. I don't know. It feels like he's a really good play. I thought Stone Smart, Pat. I was under the impression that Stone Smart was like a right tackle, like an offensive lineman style guy. Like he'd be like a big burly guy with a big beard and long hair. That's their other guy. That's Tucker Fisk. Stone Smart is like he looks like a wide receiver. He's like svelte. You know, I think he's a good play.
Yeah, at $2,600, like if I'm gonna make lineups work, that's how I'm going to do it. Now, obviously, I put Trey McBride into that one stack that I had. Doesn't mean I can't use Smart at the same time too. But with unless I'm actively using a tight end as a part of the build that I'm doing, that just seems like the default for me. I'd rather do that than use Kayshon Boutte.
I couldn't agree more. And if he gets 11 points, he is going to be like extremely likely to be in winning lineups.
Miami and Houston. The total is 46.5. So one of the higher totals. It's funny, like you look at all the advanced numbers on Houston's defense and it's really good, yet when you watch them, they don't seem like they're good at all.
They generate a ton of pressures.
Well, that's not good against Miami because they get the ball out immediately. Yeah. Like, is there a game stack to be had here? Because I saw that the Dolphins let Odell walk away this morning.
I did. Well, Malik Washington, baby. You know, they want me to win. They want me to win playoff best ball, or they want me to win best ball on DraftKings.
If let's say we use Tua, because that's the side that I'd want to take here, because then we can go with Mixon or Collins solo on the other side. Or hell, if we have all the money in the world, we can just jam them in since we're playing Stone Smart anyway. You do a Jonnu Stone Smart double tight end lineup with Tua, Nico, Mixon, and Tyreek. Would that work?
I think we should do.
Or do you put A-Chain in it?
Stroud. Let's do Stroud, A-Chain.
Here's the sneaky thing about Stroud. He kind of sucks.
He stinks. No, he stinks. He is 24th in the National Football League in EPA.
He has 2 games this year over 20 DraftKings points.
No, he's incredible. He's been stinky. There's just no way around it. He's been incredibly stinky. All right, let's do Tua. Let's do Tua.
All right, so Tuanon will be happy with us, and he's only 6,100. That works. Would you Tua with
A-Chain. A-Chain.
Okay.
Tyreek.
Oh,
And Nico. Let's see if we could do it.
let's see. Nico. Fuck, let's just throw in Mixon along with it, too. We got 3,100 left. So we end up using the Browns D.
I don't know if do you want Mixon and Nico together? Because I feel like
no,
Mixon's
I
gonna be
want
taking
there to be like
touchdowns.
3,000 points in this game.
All right, well, we got to do Jalen McMillan. We got to do Stone Smart.
Yeah, so we'll do Browns D and Stone Smart and see where we're at. Browns D, Stone Smart. We're back up to 3,900. You said McMillan and wife. We'll throw him in there. And we have $4,200 for a flex. Man, if Tajay Spears would just play, this lineup would be perfect. Well, perfectly losing, but still.
Yeah, I was gonna say perfect depending on your definition.
What? Let's play one of the losers.
Bailey.
Where's
If there's one thing I know about you, Pat, you would be a big Devon Bailey guy.
No, I'm not. I don't like the only player that I ever play from Denver is Cortland Sutton. That's it.
Cortland Sutton.
And that's worked out for me.
I just feel like
you know what I'm doing? I'm using.
I'm stunned by that information.
Instead of using because I have bigger losers I can go to than guys that like are moderately productive but don't get there. I have guys who just don't get there because they don't get a target.
Just don't get there.
So instead of using McMillan, let's use Diami Brown at $3,100 because he'll be.
I really hate this, but we can do it. But I just want it on the record. I don't like it.
Why do you like McMillan so much better than Diami Brown?
It's because De'Ami Brown is terrible.
Noah Brown's not playing who slots into his role to play all those snaps. And he's a one catch and make the week guy.
I don't know. It's going to be like 6 guys.
It might be, but you have to rotate around. You have to hope that it's him, not the third potential 4th receiving option on Tampa on the road against a pretty good defense.
I believe in Baker. We could do De'Ami Brown. I don't care.
Well,
who do we got at 4,800? What does it get? What does this get us?
It gets us. We could get either of the backup running backs for the Ravens. We could get your boy Vidal, but you get Alec Pierce, Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman is pretty interesting. He could definitely score twice in that game. He's kind of interesting.
Legette's at 47 too. That's your guy.
That is my guy. He got injured last week though, and he's playing through something he has to have surgery on at the end of the year, which I don't.
Yeah, but
love.
he hurt his wrist. His wrist injury wasn't last week. I believe it was like I remember watching. It was like week 9, week 10 because he left the game.
I do love this guy.
Last because he eats raccoons.
No, just because like I like being right about things. So it's like cool that he's been able to get on the field, and also he's got the most incredible accent in the world.
Yeah,
you heard his accent; it's unbelievable.
He sounds like Boomhauer.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
But
that's it. I've never heard that that 1-to-1 made, but that's exactly what he sounds like.
Like if you listen to him talk, is the first thing that popped into my mind. Like, oh my god, like I can't understand a word this guy is saying, and it's just the most southern.
I heard
accent.
they're gonna reboot that show, Pat.
Really? Well, I mean, everything gets rebooted now, right? Even the show
as
reboot
the target
is
audience,
getting
I
rebooted.
love.
Yeah,
I love that.
Have you found the only one that I found that was any good was the Twin Peaks reboot, and it wasn't even a reboot; it was like an extension, and it was completely different from the first show.
I never watched Twin Peaks to begin with.
That you really should.
Yeah, I think I'd like it.
Yeah, it's really fucking weird, man.
All the Futurama reboots are good. I enjoy all of them.
Yeah, but those all rebooted before like the big string of reboots. Like it's been rebooted 3 times now?
3 times now, yeah.
Well, like I started watching. I watched the Frasier reboot on Paramount Plus.
Was that good?
No, but I watched it. It's not great.
Well, you live and you learn.
Kelsey Grammer's so old.
Kelsey Grammer is very old. Yeah, he is.
So if we do this, we can get Legette in. What you're talking about him getting injured last week is when Bryce Young threw him a death ball over the middle of the field, and he got absolutely rocked.
And he also did not catch that touchdown at the end of the game. Brutal. That would have been. I would have enjoyed that. I would have enjoyed him catching that. But what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, I like someone keeping the heat on the Lions just from like between the Vikings and the Eagles, like the Lions can't slow down yet because they can still lose the number 1 seed. That I just from a football viewing, because listen, if you take a look at the AFC playoffs, if Denver beats Indy this week, the AFC is basically wrapped. And then, I mean, unless Indy can somehow catch Houston, if Houston loses out, I did bet the Colts 11-1 to win the South this week on the show.
I bet the Cardinals to win the division at 9-1, and I thought that was like a layup, and then they lost that game last week. Like, what are the Cardinals doing, man? They're so annoying.
We looked at it probably 4 or 5 weeks ago when Seattle went on their losing streak, and I think San Francisco was still favored to win the division. And they were all bunched up; they were all within a game with each other, and Seattle was just randomly 20-1. I was like, nah, they're not gonna win it. Like 20-1, a game back in the division. Could have had that bet, and was like, nah, don't want to do it. Stupid.
The Rams won last night. Could the Rams win the division? Who's favored now? Who's favored now on the sports books?
It's probably the Rams, if I had to guess.
It's probably the Rams. Yeah, I don't know. Here, let me look.
No, I can effort this one. Let's see. To win division, NFC West. Yeah, the Rams are -110. The Seahawks are +115, and the Cardinals are now 9-1. But the Rams play the Seahawks.
So they're the number I bet them originally. Sick.
Yeah, sweet. Interesting.
Rams, man, that's crazy. I hope the Rams making the playoffs. How you want to hear a phrase that'll make you think I'm even more of a virgin than I am?
Is it that you try to have sex wearing your giant puffer coat?
Playoff best ball. You heard of that?
Oh yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that on Underdog.
Oh yeah, these are the games you want to. This is God's game. This is God's game, Pat. A truly great game. I love it.
Can you lay out like 3 things I need to know about playoff best ball on Underdog? Because I haven't jumped into it yet. Because I figure, being a sensible person, that I'd want to see like how the teams end up getting seeded, and then maybe I can draft some teams and try to get all my guys, as many as possible, to either the Final Four or to the Super Bowl, rather than just arbitrarily taking players on teams who might not make the playoffs.
Well, I mean, of course I can help you. I would say your ruling should be you want one of the 5 best quarterbacks. They go very early. Mahomes, Goff, Allen, Lamar, Hurts. You want to have generally speaking, I like to have 4 players from one team on one side of the conference, AFC or NFC, then 2 because there's 10 roster spots on the other. Make sure you can field a Super Bowl lineup, and make sure you can field a wild card round lineup, because you might want to do a Chiefs Lions Super Bowl where no one is playing in the wild card round. But it is a very fun game. It's a thinking man's game, they might call it. I really enjoy it.
But like, what is the benefit of doing it right now versus doing it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks once we have a better idea of how each conference is shaping up? Because like the Lions, although they wouldn't get the first round game, like, is that a big penalty? Like, if you think that the Chiefs and Lions are going to be the 1 seed and they get that bye, obviously it puts them closer to the Super Bowl. They'd probably be favored to go to the Super Bowl, but you lose that week. Like, does that kill you?
I mean, it's a huge penalty if you get it wrong. So like if you draft, like say I drafted a team right now, you and I drafted a team, and we drafted like the Chiefs would be playing in the wild card round, and they don't, we probably wouldn't advance our team. So if you do draft Chiefs and Lions players, you need to draft it with the idea that they get the 1 seed, basically. But it is hard. It is hard to advance past the first round. Your individual 6-man pod. It's hard to advance those. It's hard to advance Chiefs and Lions players. So you have to do it in a constructive way, a thoughtful way.
So you couldn't do all Chiefs, all Lions, is what you're saying then? Like, you need an out to get yourself the points to get to the next round.
Yes. So if you do Chiefs players, you need to make, I mean, some percentage of players, some small percent, like maybe like, I don't know, 3% of pods or something, you could advance without a full, with only 4 players contributing to your lineup instead of 5, if it just works out that way. Yeah, you really would like to max at 5 Chiefs and Lions.
What is the big one? Is it the mitten?
The gauntlet is the 200K to first one.
If I click on this right now, do you think we have time to do the draft right now?
Yeah. It'll probably take a couple seconds to fill.
All right, let's see. I have $25 being deducted from my line, from my balance here. All right, I already got 2 people filled already. Can you see it on the screen?
I can. Yeah, this will be amazing for doing a playoff best ball draft with one Mr. Pat Mayo.
All right. How are we doing this? So let's talk through some strategy before this fills. We're still waiting on 4 people. So hit me with it.
So basically you kind of need to, after your first and second round picks, know who is making the Super Bowl. So like here's an interesting strategy thing. If we get the first overall pick, obviously the Eagles have great Super Bowl odds. Saquon Barkley is the best player in fantasy. You come back around to pick at 12 and 13, a huge percentage of the time, the best quarterbacks are gone. Mahomes is gone, Hurts is gone, Allen's gone, Lamar's gone, Goff is gone. So then you were setting yourself up to either have to take Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, or CJ Stroud as the AFC Super Bowl representative, which is tough. So a lot of times I just take Josh Allen first overall because I don't want to mess with it. I don't want too many of my teams betting on the Steelers making the Super Bowl.
Do you? I mean, I think I would try to take as many Lions as possible, knowing that they're going to play indoors in the better scoring environment, or Minnesota, for that matter. If Minnesota ends up as the 1 seed, which is not out of the realm of possibility, then they get all their games inside.
Minnesota is probably my favorite sleeper team. Like my favorite team to do. Like, okay, I've got my Bills, or I've got my Chiefs, or I've got my Ravens. The Vikings are probably like Addison, Sam Darnold, TJ Hawkinson are probably some of the better late round picks. Another key strategy thing is that the worst type of picks in the pool are like the guys who are going to score a lot of points in
round one,
but are like Puka Nacua is a pretty bad pick. Not a bad. It's like everything's contextual, but like the Rams are not going to make the Super Bowl.
Why not? Now they can block, they can do anything. We were picking second in this draft, by the way.
There we go. We're picking second, so we'll be able to take Barkley or Allen.
Yes, and you would prefer Allen over Barkley?
Actually, when you get the second pick, you're much more likely, just the way it works out, you're much more likely to get the quarterback. The guy who gets screwed is the guy who draws the 101. You'll see as it goes. Because people don't take the 2 quarterbacks, they really only take 1. So one of the guys, there's 6 draft slots, but there's 5 quarterbacks that you really want. So basically, one drafter gets screwed every draft.
Okay, so we're gonna go through this and try to figure it out. When does this start? Why isn't this starting? Come on, start.
It takes 60 seconds to start.
All right, there we go. They took Josh Allen, so we're taking Barkley.
We're taking Barkley, and then we are fine with either Mahomes, or we are fine with or we would prefer Jalen Hurts to come all the way around to us, but we were probably gonna have to take Mahomes. And in this draft, we actually might end up taking Russell Wilson actually in this draft.
Well, yeah, I guess we get Mahomes. I mean, what if Goff fell to us?
That does happen sometimes. We could do that, and then we build. We'd still take Russell Wilson if we took Jared Goff, though, because Goff is our free meeting in it.
Yeah, I thought we stopped the show in order to fix that, and it still didn't fix itself. So I'm gonna have to work on that during the in between here. So coming off the board right now, we're almost back up, and all right, we're doing okay here with everyone. Lamar's still on the board.
We would be fine with either the AFC quarterbacks. That's most ideal, because what you really want is you really want to have your highest Super Bowl probability quarterback opposite your highest super probability running back.
Yeah, so Lamar just went. So it went Allen, we took Saquon, then it went AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, Gibbs, Hurts. Then the second round, Henry, Jackson, Goff. Now we're on the clock after this next guy who just took Mahomes.
Okay, so we got screwed. We got screwed.
So who do we take?
We take AJ Brown, right?
You
Or
know,
Devonta.
we take Devonta Smith. Really?
We take Devonta Smith.
Why are we taking Devonta Smith? Because we're just stacking up Eagles.
Because we're stacking the Eagles, and then we're gonna start stacking AFC players.
I mean, shouldn't we have just pivoted and taken like Jefferson and take all the Minnesota guys?
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to. I mean, we still can do that. We could take Jefferson on the way around.
All right,
But the thing is-
it's back to us and went Montgomery and Jameson Williams.
Montgomery, Jameson Williams.
So we can still do that.
So
We can
now.
we can get James Cook.
No, we don't want James Cook. We want Justin Jefferson.
All right, so basically we're committing to Minnesota and Pittsburgh, basically.
Minnesota, Pittsburgh.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You gotta PayPal me $25.
I didn't.
This team's gonna be horrible.
It's very rarely does it happen that way that the 2 hole is the team that gets screwed on quarterback.
Who is the like team that you're seeing that might have an easier path yet might not end up like, is anyone taking any Texans?
Yeah. People did. Nico's, I think, like the 10th wide receiver drafted. Stroud's, I think, the 7th quarterback drafted.
Like I'm seeing Collins and Mixon both still on the board right now, and we're into the 3rd round.
Yeah. People take the Texans. I think the sneakiest team is the Buccaneers, because the Buccaneers are going to score a lot of fantasy points in the games they do play, and I think they'll have an easy matchup because they're going to get in as a division winner. So they're going to be up against.
They're gonna have the
6th seed.
they're gonna. I guess if they get the 6th seed, so I guess the NFC West team would be like. Is there a point, like, if you're doing the drafts now, because you get put into these buckets with teams who obviously we all have the same information right now. It's our pick right now. The best players on the board are Nico, Mixon, Cooper, Aaron Jones, Pickens. Do we take Pickens then if we're going to do that side?
Yeah, we do. We do Pickens and Najee.
Or do we do Pickens and Addison?
We have Jefferson.
Yeah.
No, we do Pickens, Najee.
You're not worried about Jalen Warren stealing all the stuff here?
No.
Okay. Gotta tell you, man, this team's really bad.
A lot of the times you're going to feel that. I mean, anytime you don't get one of the 5 best quarterbacks, the 5 Super Bowl, you're going to hate the team. You're playing for total tail outcomes at that point.
Okay, so here's how the draft has went. Let's take a look at this here. So after we took Devonta Smith in the 2nd round, it went David Montgomery to the guy after us. He followed that up with Jameson Williams. We took Justin Jefferson. Then it went Pacheco, James Cook, Zay Flowers, Travis Kelce to end that round. In the 4th round, it went Hopkins, Laporta, Shakir, Jacobs. We took Pickens. Then it went to Mixon. The guy went Mixon and Collins, and we took Najee. Then Xavier Worthy went right after that.
Probably to the guy who has Goff.
Yeah, the guy who has Mahomes. So he has AJ
Yeah.
Brown. So he has Mahomes, Pacheco, and Worthy, and then as additions on, he has AJ Brown and Josh Jacobs.
That's a little funky. That's not super optimal unless he takes Jordan Love. That's a little weird. But yeah, we are playing. Well, we're playing for 2 outcomes. We're playing for a Pittsburgh Eagles Super Bowl or a Pittsburgh Vikings Super Bowl.
So we're up in 3 picks. Aaron Jones and Addison are both still on the board.
Yeah, we need to do Addison and then Russell Wilson.
So Wilson is going ahead of... Now, Darnold's going ahead of Russell Wilson. Like, this team is screwed without Darnold.
No, we're more screwed without Russell Wilson.
Why?
Because we have our 1st round pick was on the NFC side. So we would prefer our 1st round pick to make the Super Bowl.
Sure, but we only have Vikings receivers.
Right, but we're gonna take no, we have Pickens.
Yeah, we have Pickens and Najee, but we'll have Addison and we'll have Jefferson.
Well, those guys can still score if Russell Wilson makes the Super Bowl. That's fine.
Okay. So
The Russell Wilson component is more important.
all right, we'll take Addison, then we'll take Russell Wilson. Why? Like,
And then
could you just sell out on Jaden Daniels in this draft?
sure. Yeah. Well, after we took the Vikings players, probably not. But it's a good thing to do if we had done this on the AFC side, if we had done Barkley, Devonta, and then we started going all AFC. We didn't take Jefferson. Like if we took Nico, Mixon, Najee, like if we had all AFC players, then we could end with like Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson Jr. and Ertz or something.
All right, we got Russell Wilson.
There we go. So and by us selecting Addison and Jefferson, that also precludes other people from wanting to take Darnold. Like basically, it would be suboptimal for other teams in this draft to take him. Doesn't mean they won't do it.
Maybe we can still get him then, unless someone is auto drafting, and then I think we're screwed. Does that happen?
Oh my God! Yes, there's this one guy. There's this one guy, Pat, who won a bunch of money on one of the primetime slates and has been auto drafting everything this week, and he's driving me crazy. He's driving me nuts. He's auto drafting in all these drafts I'm in, and just like particular auto drafters are fine in the battle royales, but they're really annoying in the playoff drafts.
We still have Darnold
Not
on the
great.
board. Yeah, no one is taking Washington players at all.
You think that's exploitable? You think Washington's making it to the Super Bowl?
I don't know if Washington's making it to the Super Bowl, but if they do, they're going to score an awful lot of points to get there.
See, I think the Buccaneers are the better version of that team. I think the Buccaneers are more likely to be the super fun fantasy team that doesn't make it to the Super Bowl.
I mean, that's potentially true. Oh, someone took Hawkinson on us. So how do we end up? Okay, we're going to be up in one pick. We're going to take Darnold with this pick, I'm guessing, right?
Darnold and then Pat Freiermuth.
Darnold, then Freiermuth. Okay, so we can try that out. But like, so we only have 9, and then we have 10 left. Like, should we take some random other AFC dude? Because like when I take a look at our team, like we just have all have all NFC guys except for the Steelers. Because we have Barkley, Smith, Jefferson, Pickens, Najee, Addison, Russell Wilson, Darnold.
That's 4 Steelers. We have 4 Steelers, 4 Vikings, or 3 Vikings.
3 Vikings.
We could take 2 we could take 2 Chiefs. We could take 2 Texans. We could take 2 Chargers. We could do that if you want.
Well, let's get Freiermuth, but let's try to mix someone else in here like randomly, just so we can score some points at some point.
Freiermuth, there we go.
So we got Freiermuth.
All right, and then our
like McLaurin's not even
next-
gone in this. I know that he's not. He's an NFC guy. It's just crazy to think that someone who's so good. No one has taken Jamar Chase either. In case the Bengals roll it out.
Can you show me our wide receivers real quick?
Yep. Smith.
I'm trying to do the math in my head.
Smith, Jefferson, Pickens, Addison, Freiermuth.
Yeah, we could take 2 Chiefs, 2 Chargers, 2 Texans, 2 Bills.
We only have one pick left, don't we?
Oh yes, you're right. Yeah. So I would probably take, actually, mathematically, it's probably Akers, who is the correct pick for us to give us 4. Huh.
Yeah,
to give us 4 Vikings.
That sounds like a really terrible idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
How about we just take Cortland Sutton?
Honestly, yeah, fine.
I told you earlier, he's the only guy that I play on DraftKings from Denver.
He's a good advance rate piece. He would give us a.
I mean,
It doesn't.
They either play the Bills or Steelers in the first round, theoretically.
It doesn't do anything to our Super Bowl lineup, but it does help our wild card lineup. So I think it's fine.
And maybe Denver advances by beating the Bills. Then we're golden.
Then we're super golden. Yeah. I mean, it's like what I just did right there. What we just did right there. I don't even we can field the wild card lineup and we can field the Super Bowl lineup, but the format is pretty hard because you don't really know what's optimal at any given step. I mean, I feel pretty confident that a Steelers Vikings Super Bowl is not going to happen, but you never know.
All right. Well, our team looks like 2 Eagles of Barkley and Devonta Smith the first 2 rounds. Then Jefferson, Addison, Darnold. Then we have Russell Wilson with Najee Harris, George Pickens, and Pat Freiermuth. And then we have a one-off of Cortland Sutton with her last pick. That's the team.
That's the team. I think Crutches 93, the guy who drafted right next to us, he probably had the best one right there.
So he drafted from the 4 spot, so 2 after us. He went Amon-Ra, Goff, James Cook, Shakir, Amari Cooper, Kincaid. So he has all of the Bills without Josh Allen. Like that's a viable strategy.
Yeah, he's just setting up a Lions-Bills Super Bowl where Goff and Allen play to a rough draw.
And
then he's got the chart.
He has the Chargers
to advance him through.
Yeah, he has Ladd McConkey with Herbert and J.K. Dobbins and Brian Robinson. So this guy appears to know what he's doing.
Yes. Yeah, I think everyone in this draft mostly knew what they were doing, which is hard to draft against.
Now, is that because we're drafting right now? Like, let's say in 3 weeks' time, when it's in between week 18. I mean, this contest will probably be filled.
No, it's because I win in Discord when it wasn't filling, and I told people to fill it. So that we could do it on the show. But yes, the closer we get to the more random entries will pile in. However, this particular day, this Thursday and Friday, all the best ball payments just went out because they just advanced everyone from the regular season. So people are flush on Underdog Fantasy right now.
Well, you can use code Mayo, make yourself flush on Underdog Fantasy, and get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000, and you'll get a free pick for Pick'em. I'm flush on Underdog, Davis, because I have been crushing Pick'em for like a month straight. It's been fantastic news. Paid for Christmas. Jake Paul paid Jake Paul paid for like a lot of stuff for me. Now Underdog is paying for some Christmas gifts. I bought a new car. It's been great.
I'm very happy for you, man. That makes me feel great. I've recently learned about betting lowers.
Oh, really?
On Underdog Fantasy, which is very new to me.
Yeah, that is a strategy that's been working for me.
Yeah, me and Nez on the Friday show, we've been doing something we call the Hateful Eight, which is just we take lowers on players we hate. Eight players we hate. We just take the lower.
How does that work?
It's very easy.
Are you winning?
Wait, the first one we did, we won. Nick Westbrook-Ikini was a big part of that last week.
I had the 8-banger ready to roll last week, and then A-Chain went to overtime and got his over on the receptions.
Of course.
It's killing me here. It cost me a lot of money.
You know what? We had the lower on Jonnu Smith touchdowns, and he had 0 points until the overtime.
Happens. Okay, let's get back to the DraftKings slate and finish this off. You mentioned you like Richardson and Knicks. Do you actually like that game?
I don't like that game, but if that makes sense, like I like the quarterbacks. I think either of those quarterbacks can get like 25 plus at like 2% ownership.
But you'd like, if you were to do Sutton or Taylor, just no thank you. Alec Pierce, no thank you. That kind of thing?
Sutton, yes. Taylor, yes, but not in game stacks. Like I would do them. I do Knicks and Sutton. I would do Richardson and Downs, but I don't want like 6 players from this game. You know, this is not Detroit Buffalo, in my opinion.
Okay, then we have Tampa and the Chargers. You said you like Baker, so we can build out that shell. Is that just Baker?
I always like Baker.
Is it just Baker, Evans, and McMillan, or does it have Otton?
I think maybe this week, because tight end's so bad, you do Otton. Like, it's so funny, Pat. Tight ends this year have been crushing for DFS. Like, every week I go to runthesims.com. I run my sims. I get a ton of 2 tight end lineups. Not this week. This week, it likes it markedly less.
Wait, isn't this the lineup to use Smart in?
Oh, yeah.
So you go Otton Smart?
Stone Smart. Why don't we use Ladd McConkey, too?
Is McConkey for sure playing?
I don't think for sure, but he's been limited practice all week.
He was limited in practice all last week, then he didn't play.
Well, buddy, I have in my home league, I'm in big trouble against my high school and college buddies if he doesn't play. So I'm not even gonna pretend like he's not gonna play.
Well, you're gonna have to pick up Diami Brown and play him.
Fuck, not that. Anything but that, dude. Anything but Diami Brown.
All right, we'll throw.
Do you know how many leagues I picked up Noah Brown because of you?
He got all of the work I wanted him to get. He just dropped every pass that was thrown to him. Then he got hurt.
He led for a while. It's not true anymore. For a while, he led the NFL in pass interference yards gained.
Really? Like, I don't think I was wrong about like the role that he would play in that offense once he was healthy. He just didn't do anything with it.
Correct.
And I don't think I was the only one being like, I was big on Noah Brown early because I like Noah Brown. But then I saw other people come around to Noah Brown the farther and farther we got in. So had he have been right, you would have been early to the scene on it.
Yeah, I mean, look, they don't give refunds for those waiver dollars, but that's fine. There was not really a big waiver winner this whole year. Honestly.
I mean, it would have been Garendo if it wasn't in the pouring rain. Although Cust ended the year in both leagues he's in with 100 fab bucks.
Cust, I just don't get the Cust thing. The whole Cust experience, I don't get it. He seems, for a very smart man, he seems incapable of learning.
I mean, it needs to be in text for him. If he could read it, he would understand it. You can't tell him things. He's I mean, there are some people that are audio learners and visual learners. He just needs to read something, and then it gets imprinted in his mind.
I'd be happy to write him an article about how fab works.
You need to write him an article about that. You need to write him a book on social situations and where he needs to tip and where he doesn't need to tip. This is what he's looking for.
Well, I'm sure Cuss and I probably have a lot to talk. What is his PhD in?
Political theory, I think.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna say if it was in like the English language or philology or literature, we'd have a lot to talk about. But maybe not political theory.
He basically has a degree in literature just from his hobbies.
Tim and I honestly would probably get along. We really probably would.
I don't know a single person that doesn't get along with Tim.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're gonna have those opinions, you gotta be easy to get along with.
It's true. So let's fill out the shell of just Baker, Evans, Smart, and Otten, and move on to Pittsburgh and Philly. I don't really have a ton of interest here.
No, that game is gonna be fucking terrible, Pat. That game is gonna be awful.
I have some interest in them feeding the ball to AJ Brown.
I mean, it's like, I get it, the squeaky wheel thing, man. They are dead last in the National Football League in pass rate over expectation. Literally 32 out of 32.
They also have a quarterback who runs a ton too.
They do have a quarterback who runs a ton.
Like, is that
a running back who's pretty good?
Is that skewed in pass rate over expectation for all the teams in the negative? That every team with a running quarterback tends to skew a little bit lower.
No, because the Bills and the Ravens are positive PROE. So,
but it's funny because those teams don't actually. I mean, last week aside, I feel like the Bills have just been running a ton more this year.
I mean, theoretically, PROE should basically be like you should run in the spot. So it's I mean, I don't know exactly how it's calculated, obviously, but it's basically like how much do you throw when a normal coach would call a run? And the answer for the Eagles is they just run all the time.
All right, let's get and fill in some of these lineups. Let's go back to this one, the Drake May, James Conner, Demario Douglas, and Trey McBride lineup. We had Brian Robinson and Chase Brown as two plays that we like. So let's throw them into running back and flex and see how that works.
We really need to put a pin on the Brian Robinson thing because I think he's going to get underplayed this week. That's actually some helpful advice that we can help people win money with this week is Brian Robinson Jr.
So you're good with Brian Robinson over Chuba Hubbard and Rico?
Yeah, especially in lineups where if you have anything resembling chalk in your lineups, yeah, you can do that, and it's a really easy way to pivot.
So if you had all the money in the world for a defense that isn't the Ravens, who would you take?
If I had all the money in the world for the defense, I would take the Commanders.
Really? All right. We'll pair up Commanders D with Brian Robinson. Now we have $5,250 for two wide receiver spots. I think this can get us Thielen and $5,100. Is there anyone good at 50? Isn't that what Amari Cooper was?
Josh, how much? 53?
Yeah, we just we can one off Thielen and Josh Downs. Josh Downs seems like a perfect fit to beat this Denver off their defense, by the way.
I'm trying to see. I mean, I like Thielen more, but I'm good with Downs.
No, it's both of them, Thielen and Downs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do it. Ship it.
Like unless
Oh,
there's.
Hopkins. Hopkins. I like Hopkins more.
Why do you like Hopkins more?
Rain, big hands. I don't know. I just think DeAndre Hopkins is a good player.
That's great, man. So
No. Let's keep Downs. Let's keep Downs.
I
Let's
mean,
keep Downs.
we can't even afford Hopkins.
We can't even afford him anyway.
It's either Thielen or Hopkins is the decision.
Oh, Thielen for sure. Come on, Thielen's got the good quarterback at least.
Yeah, sure. He's got shitty Tua.
Shitty Tua. That's what you think Bryce is? I think Bryce is like shitty Jameis.
Jesus. He's Jameis, who's my height.
That's like the thing that Bryce does is he like scrambles around. Like that throw he made to Leggett, the Leggett dropped. It was at the end of like a scramble drill.
Are you saying Leggett on purpose or is it Leggett?
No, it's Leggett. That's how you say it.
Is that how he said you say it? Because I can't understand a word he says.
That is how, because it's French, right? So it'd be Leggett.
That cannot
French
be true because you're not running out there Travis Etienne. You're saying it's Etienne. Like you're some, I mean, you are American, so that would make sense. But all the names that should be French are not French in the NFL, despite the fact that Etienne is from Louisiana, I believe, where it would be pronounced Etienne. So,
I do a little bit of the parlez-vous. I used to speak a little bit of French, not really so much anymore.
Like none at all? Like you used to speak French and now you speak none, is what you're saying.
I got the elementary proficiency when I was in college. And no fucking way could I do it now.
Is that like elementary school proficiency while you were in college?
I think it's like the base level of certification you need to like put it on like your resume, basically. Like you could send me to France and I wouldn't embarrass us as a company or whatever. But
if you want to be embarrassed speaking French and going to like Paris or anywhere in France, just learn Canadian French and try to go over there. It does not work.
What's the difference?
Because Quebecois French is a little bit different, huh?
Is it more snooty? Is it more nasally?
No. It's like trailer park French.
That's so funny. Yeah, French is it's a cool language, but the thing is that I could speak it and read it a little bit, but it's so hard to hear for an American person to hear how a native speaker speaks it. It's not like English. It is not like English at all.
No, all the Latin-based languages, it all kind of works in reverse of how your mind puts together English, which I always found to be the hardest part.
Yeah, it goes in a different. So the orders are different, and then the end of the word is the most important in all these French words. And that was very hard. That was very hard to figure out.
Yeah, that you really had to go through. You're like, qu'est-ce que c'est un accent grave? C'est un circonflexe, le CCD, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Where it would be like I could pick up at the beginning of the sentence what you were getting towards, but then if I interpreted it wrong, then by the end of the sentence that I'm listening to, I'm like, I got nothing. I got nothing. Like I remembered, I was pretty good at remembering, who a sentence was being directed towards and the verbs.
Now was that just because they were looking at the person they were talking to? That's how you knew?
No, you know what I mean. I'm actually forgetting, but like, to new,
yeah,
like the agreements.
Il,
yeah.
Vous.
Yeah, exactly.
You got them all in there.
Fuck, it's been so long. I feel really stupid because it's been so. And I mean, obviously, my brain's not working at like 100% right now. But I was like, the French part of my brain is not even activated right now.
All right, we got one lineup to fill out here. It is the Joe Burrow lineup. So Burrow with Chase and Ridley. How do you want to go about this? Because it kind of gives us free reign. We have 47-33 left. Is this one where we throw in Stone Smart and then see what we have left?
Stone Smart.
So $5,100 left per player. Is this the lineup where we go like Hubbard, Dowdle, Brian Robinson, and then find a receiver at the end?
You read my mind.
All right, so B-Rob, Hubbard, Chuba. How many Chuba Thielen lineups do you think you'll see?
Very few. Very few. Thielen will not be as popular as I think he should be.
I mean, that could be true, but I guess to look at it at the same time, I mean, one of these weeks, because I remember this happened last year, that Thielen was going off every week, and then the moment everyone jumped on, that was it. It was over for Thielen. He didn't do anything the rest of the year.
Well, my working theory on Thielen is that he's well rested right now. Everyone else has been getting the shit beat out of them all year, and Thielen's been, eating good, hanging on the exercise bike, rehabbing, hanging out with the athletic trainers. He's living the dream right now.
Let's throw McMillan into this lineup because we have Smart in it already. We'll try to put a little mini stack in there with it. It gives us the chance to get a really good defense out of it, or at least a passable defense. We get
a passable defense.
Is Anthony Richardson good? I kind of like the Eagles D against. Let's do that. We can go Eagles D against the Steelers.
Love it. The exciting Whites defense.
Yeah, they weren't so exciting against Carolina.
I love the Reed Blankenship Cooper DeJean shirts. The exciting white shirts. They're very good.
Well, you got to perform. If you're gonna wear exciting Whites t-shirts, you better be very good at what you do.
You gotta play good. Yeah.
All right, so
that's very true.
That's the lineup. It's Burrow with Chase and Ridley, Brian Robinson and Hubbard together, Dowdle in the flex with McMillan and Smart at wide receiver and tight end. Eagles D, it has $200 left over. I do not mind that lineup. I will update all the injuries and everything like that, though, on... What does that say? I'm blocked from submitting this lineup? That's not good. Account locked due to your current location. Oh, no, that's not good. Well, I'll have to go enter that one on from my phone, which will have the right stuff going on for me here. That's weird that it kicked me out right now after I was entering lineups the entire time, huh?
I get location errors all the time on my desktop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use my desktop all that. Only on the show do I use like my laptop as I'm going through the lineups. Kind of strange. Anyway, I hope you feel better, man.
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. You
look like it.
I'll be okay. You really hate the puffer. Everyone, tell Pat that it's okay that I wear my puffer indoors. Let him know.
It's just really strange to wear a jacket indoors. But I also find it very strange when Americans wear shoes inside their house. That's only really a thing that happens in America, and the rest of the world's like, what's happening here?
You want to know something? This will really tell you. I'm wearing Birkenstocks right now. I'm wearing Birkenstocks on my feet right now with my puffer. How's that make you feel? Does that make you angry, Pat?
It does, yes. So you're so cold you have to wear a giant winter jacket, but you can wear an open-toed shoe inside.
There's just something for me very comforting. Like, I don't feel very good right now. Obviously, everyone could see it. Like, I just kind of feel like I'm being hugged when I'm wearing this. I don't know. I just like wearing this coat. It's just a nice coat, man.
All right. I'll be back on Saturday with the full update. And are you still doing your live stream on Friday?
Yeah, I'm live on Friday mornings, I'm live on Sunday mornings, and I'm live on Sunday nights.
It is Friday morning. You're not live right now.
I'm going to be live in about 30 minutes. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to get another cup of coffee. I'm going to let my dogs out, and then I'm going to come back down and start my stream.
All right, and you can do that over at the Davis Mattek YouTube channel. Highly recommend that you subscribe, and we'll get together to do something fun over the holiday season, I'm guessing, when you feel better.
Absolutely. So I would actually love to do like an hour of playoff basketball drafts with you and see how many it takes you before you feel like legitimately sick, where you're like, I can't believe that people do this with their free time.
I've been having fun doing the best ball PGA drafts instead. I find that those are way more fun.
Those are fun.
They're more, but they're more fun. I don't have to worry about, I need, there are certain strategies to utilize to maximize each of your events, but it's like there's no real correlation to it. So it's I think that guy is going to be good. I'll take him. Like that's more my speed when it comes to drafting.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Well, no, not having to worry about correlations is really good. That makes drafting a lot easier.
Yeah, so, code Mayo and Underdog. And get it on. We're doing some PGA best ball streams and strategy shows coming up. And I have Michael Kim on the show next week. Anything for me to ask him?
Michael Kim. No, I don't really.
he's
I
a
don't
pro-
really,
he's a
but
pro-
I should.
he's a
My brain is not tuned into golf right now.
That's it. No one's is. That's why I'm going to start doing all my golf shows starting next week. Get everyone prepared for the year.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
Davis
It's
Mattek
gonna
YouTube
be-
channel. You got 1 minute before your heart out and get out of here. You get yourself better. We'll collab sometime over the holiday season. Maybe it's on a Takecast. Maybe it's on here, but we'll try to win some money on DraftKings this week. Like I said, the update is coming on Saturday. The newsletter will come out for free on Saturday evening as well if you're looking for ownership percentages, pivot plays, or any updated news and injuries that may occur between now and then. All right, I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience. Experience.